And Peterson's talked about this a lot, describing the fall of man in this, as told in the story of Adam and Eve, as kind of like the discovery of time in a way.
Mm.
And so it seems like that reason is that power for us to penetrate forward in time, right? We can comprehend the future consequences of our action, whether we follow a path of instinct, which is just eat, everything we can and hump everything we can and hope for the best, or we can follow this divergent path of, I'm going to eat a little bit less today, develop rapport and trust with my people here and plan for tomorrow or next season or next year. So I guess reason then is closely related to this aspect of self-consciousness across time, that we can reflect on ourselves and consider our future state.
Yes, absolutely. And Ludwig von Mises again lays this out beautifully in Human Action and in praxeology, that once he assumes human action, and again, this is a reasonable construct, so it is a creation of reason, but it starts with human action, right? But what is action if not change over time? You are in the state of uneasiness, and then you solve the situation and you're no longer in a state of uneasiness. That is time, before and after the action.
Right.
The concept of time is discovered with the discovery of reason. It goes hand in hand,
That's an incredible way to look at it. And then it lends all the credence. Again, we're coming back to time preference, right? The lower your time preference, the more you're taking into account your future self and other future selves. And therefore it's almost indistinguishable from being more reasonable, right? The more your decision in the present accounts for possible futures, deeper, further possible futures, the more reasonable you're being in a way.
Yes, absolutely. And this is, again, such great parallel between Peterson and Mises. As Peterson says that even you as the individual are not alone. You're not, you consist of a group of yourself across time, right? It's not just you today. It was you a year ago and you tomorrow and you in a year, right? That's all you. You are a collective, so to say, of the same individual across time.
Yes.
And this is again so much what Mises talks about, right? That aspect of understanding the long-term causal relationships of your actions, right? And the cool thing about praxeology is that it starts at the isolated individual. We start slow and build up big, right? We don't try to explain the entire complex economy at first, right? We first try to explain human action, one person alone, right, on the lonely island. But the same concept works, like the same logical reasoning works on the individual scale as well as on the macro scale. And the reason why that is because as above, so below, right? On the micro scale, we have a fractional representation of a market economy, of you and you in the past and you in the future.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, this gets to that point of all human action is a trade, right? We're making exchanges with our future self no matter what we do, because to your earlier point, the opportunity cost is always infinite. So what are you trading away, in terms of this infinite opportunity cost for present action, which is an expression of your value, right? It's what you value most, is what you're doing in any moment.
Exactly. And again, this massive potential of opportunity cost is assumed in the praxeological model with the marginal diminishing utility. Right? That entire concept is deduced out of human action. Right. That means that you have diminishing margining returns with everything. Right. And this is the entire subjective theory of value. Right. So this is, again, it's the core of praxeology. Really, it's everyone's talking about the same thing.
Yeah, that's incredible. And then the one last point I'll put on that is Peterson makes this brilliant connection. Again, if self-consciousness is a form of reasonableness, self-consciousness, to tie it back to Adam and Eve, when they say it's the discovery of the knowledge of good and evil, self-consciousness is a prerequisite to being evil, because what it essentially is you have identified a way that you can be hurt. You've identified your own vulnerability. You can then choose to go and exploit that vulnerability in someone else. So like, I know this will hurt me, so I'm assuming it will hurt him or her. And that is evil. So there's with this discovery of reason and self-consciousness comes the moral dimension, which so much of this speaks to.
And even worse, it was your fault, right? You had the power to understand the consequences of your action before you even took the action. Right. You could use reason a priori to think ahead and to create a this imagination of how things will play out. You play things out in your mind. You play games. You mimic other people, right? And this is exactly because you have that capability. You can estimate how your action will play out in the future. And then if you naively walk off a cliff and you fall down, it was your fault because you could have understood gravity and the gravity of your situation by jumping off the cliff. Right. And the same is now true, thanks to Rothbard's explanation in this book, for ethics. The reason of the 20th century and the tyranny on this large scale was our fault, because we did not understand the causal relationship of human action. Yes. And that when you steal from people and you lie to people, then shit will hit the fan. Yes. And people will get killed, many of them. And it was our fault. It's obvious. It's so easy to understand that will lead to a bad outcome. Yet still, for whatever reason, we don't grasp it. And that makes us evil. Yes.
Well,